gentlemen, all rise for the RankKing's court.
Oh, yeah. Yep, there it is. Codec, bottom. Okay, you hear it now? There you go.
Yep.
Now, desktop audio, you gotta fix it for Austin. That's weird.
Everything I reset.
I know. It's output. Try output. The first one, not default. Austin, say something, brother? Nope. Try another one. Nope, not that one.
Nope.
Try another one, Austin. Nope. Try it again.
Try again.
You hear me yet? Tuesday?
There we go.
It is default.
It was default. All right.
We have some comments coming in. Get your fucking shit together.
400. Just to let you know, everything like reset today for some reason.
Yeah, Josh,
It's
he
been a
deleted
mess.
Austin.
No,
deleted
I did not.
Hold on. Turn our levels down because we are screaming.
Turn yours down.
You see what you see? You see the colors? What the colors mean?
Yeah.
This motherfucker. He deleted a font today. So.
Oh!
No, I didn't. It was already gone.
Oh!
Somebody set me up.
Okay, Austin.
Somebody
Let's
set me up for failure.
try it again. You go, Austin.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the RankKing's Court. If you're here for anything else, you have an issue with memory. This is not something that you need to be. This is
So glad you're telling that joke again.
why. Shut up. We are here again Tuesday at 6:30. All issues aside, what's up, boys? How we doing?
Liquid Death.
Could be better.
Free ads.
Liquid Death. And
Oh, yo, where's it
And-
at? Where's it at? Hey, yo, us. We're Chaw Dogs, baby.
Chaw dogs.
yeah,
Big jerky guys.
Big jerky.
open it.
Big jerky chew, put it in a thing, go shoot 22 jerky gun jerky.
Yep.
All right.
Big jerky guys.
Oh, big jerky guy.
We have
Yeah.
We have 12 viewers that just watched me and Vo put a beef jerky dip in.
That's what
That was
they
like
came
one of the
for.
good old, like, back when you acted like it was real dip.
It was nostalgic as shit, brother.
You're like, all right, now I'm going to go play first base and then go and mow a couple lawns and have a call it a day. Go home and have a good old Coors Light and talk to my wife. Like, it's
Yeah.
great.
And
Like-
talk to my wife, indeed.
Yes. So, in order to discuss what happened last week, what's happened this week, hell, we'll go further in the future. I don't care. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what that is. But we need to know where we are.
And I'll tell you that, Austin.
I'm so proud of you. I thought you were going to
Right.
throw a hissy fit.
I was going to give it back to you.
I know you were.
Tonight we're live from the Union Fitness Studios, located on the North Shore of Pittsburgh. Union Fitness is more than a traditional gym. It is a place where you can transform yourself inside and out. With a variety
Tuck and Fipa says, first time. We're glad to see this is about shit. We're a chew
we
show
might just have to
now.
do the whole show. Where were we? With a variety of classes based around fitness, yoga, strength, and performance training. At
So
Union
for you,
Fitness,
Fipa.
they believe that it is their duty to hold themselves and their clients to a higher standard. They practice what they preach and uphold the values and make Union Fitness the community that it is. Go to unionfitness.com today to sign up for a consultation. Through Union, there is strength.
Strength
I
and
held up the wrong arm.
weakness. Oh, you got.
That's why I held up both arms. I panicked.
I did both.
I'll shut it off right now.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, keeping it classy.
So, last week we discussed everything sort of related to Power Rangers. And I felt like with a limited scope on what everyone kind of had in terms of Power Rangers, I thought it went really well.
Thought it was our best episode, yep.
It was a great episode.
And that might have been because people made us sing a Power Rangers theme song, made us act like Power Rangers.
Now,
which
Austin, what is our motto as a company? We didn't have to. We got to.
We got to.
We got to make up our own
We're
Power Rangers
privileged
theme
to
song.
do that.
Yeah.
I will say that I had a little bit of a good feeling in my knee after that little shindig I did as a Power
See,
Ranger.
Josh says this. It's a really good thing Todd doesn't watch these shows because we lost the studio over the ad read. Josh also memorized it and then stares at people and says it. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's better or worse, Josh. I think it's more impressive, 100%.
I would think so.
100%. Also, the time that I speed read the ad read was probably
That
not
was
the
pretty
best
good.
moment.
No,
I
that
thought it
was
was,
pretty-
yeah, I thought it was
it
cool.
was impressive.
Thank you very much. I don't
so
do everything fast. Just that and sex.
So I didn't have any issues on my end over, which obviously I never do because the rankings are always cool. So I didn't have any people like breathing down my neck or anything about how bad the ranking was really to change. The only thing my one buddy said, he was like, "We're gonna have to talk about this later." I said, "Well, do we need to talk about it now? Because I just did the show. Like, what do you feel? What are your feelings on it?"
Yeah.
So-
Did we have any word from Greg Malik on this?
I think that
I think
He normally
Greg
comments
agreed.
on in the show, and I
Yeah.
can't remember if he definitely didn't say anything after. I'm just trying to think because he would be the one that I would trust to like have a big issue with.
A couple of people said we missed the Power Rangers Turbo.
I get it,
They
but
use all
no,
the cool
it's-
words, man.
Turbo?
Like they have all the cool like Dino Thunder, Lost Galaxy,
Yeah.
Turbo, Ninja Storm. Like who just thinks?
Then when they started losing their edge and started combining things that they used to in the past, they had like Dino Steel and like
Turbo
It's-
Dino.
yeah, it just I think they're just running out of ideas and it's hard to blame them. I mean, they've kept it going for how many years?
I mean, they should watch our show and they'd have some ideas for new episodes.
let that be known to all
Right.
of the Power Ranger producers and directors out there. Ryan Votash from Thoughts from the Benches, the RankKing's Court has called your ass out.
We need the glow-in-the-dark Ranger. That's what we need.
That's another thing that so that was a good conversation too. We had the Green Raptor Ranger, the glow in the dark Star Ranger.
Star Ranger.
And Derek, you had yours was
Mine was a samurai named Shitanyu,
That's right.
Yes.
and he shit on you.
And he was
That's
brown.
right, the
He
brown
was
It's
samurai.
the brown samurai ranger, and he was Shitanyu. Yeah.
Blue Ranger. Got you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So yeah, I don't think there was really much to go about on. I think our end. I thought it went really well.
We're fucking awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
This is dope.
Lit.
Dude.
Whoa. We can't have guns on Twitch.
Can't help it, man. Can't help it. So let's move on into tonight's topic, which I think is going to get interesting based on
No, let's do Power Rangers again!
just the same show over. I have to remember what we said on the shows before.
Right.
So
That'd be pretty
yeah,
tough.
tonight we're going to discuss everything Cartoon Network. And I thought I promised you guys a network. This is the network that I'm going to deliver. And I think that in its time, it was a big game-changing thing of, was it Cartoon Network, was it Nickelodeon, was it Disney? It was like always a triad of deciding of roulette what to pick.
Mhm.
And I think Cartoon Network a lot of times did really well with catching the audience with certain shows and everything and how they were perceived. So I think this is going to get interesting. I think we're going to Like you know by now if you watch the show, it's controversial. So there's gonna be some stuff there.
All the time. All
Mostly
the
not
time.
even about the rankings. It's just
Yeah.
confrontational.
It's just controversial internally.
So one of
Yeah.
the first episodes of Idiot Hour was Nickelodeon versus Cartoon Network. Just
Mhm.
before we dive into Cartoon Network, Austin, do either of you affiliate with one more than the other? Boyd and Elsas were both very much Nickelodeon, and I was about equal, but I leaned Cartoon Network because they are both a bit older than me. So Cartoon Network just like they were talking about like all the old Nickelodeon shows and
Yeah.
how amazing like the live action ones.
Yeah.
For me, the shows that we posted today on social media and stuff like that, I always affiliated a little bit more because I was their age when the Guts and stuff was coming out when these were coming out. So does there one you guys affiliate a little bit more with?
Yeah, I would say that I affiliated actually probably more with Cartoon Network rather than Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon had sort of the same shows that circulated. You had your SpongeBob, you had your Fairly Odd Parents, you had all that. But then you had new shows in Cartoon Network that were sort of in the developments, which we're probably going to touch base on here in a bit to see if people remember them or not. Because I would say as good as Nickelodeon kept Nick shows running for long periods of time, Cartoon Network had a lot of like couple 1 year, 2 year wonders
Yeah.
that a lot of people left very unappreciated until I'm going to bring them up.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I was more of a Nickelodeon kid.
Yeah, and that makes sense. There's obviously amazing shows on both.
Mhm.
It just I feel like some people kind of, you're either a McDonald's or you leave Wendy's off your top 10. So.
Oh.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
You also could send me the address of the parking lot and we'll fight there. So it's
It's
fine.
the Tom Collins stand on 15th. Hey, we have a theory
Anything
too.
else?
Did you move
Anything
out
else?
just because we tried to put you in the pool?
I think that's what it is.
We were talking about that today on the car right here, Oz.
You honestly thought I moved out just so that you guys wouldn't
Yeah.
bully me into my own pool?
Yes, yeah. The
For
foot.
sure.
We just think that that's kind of what happened.
You're like, I got my foot in. That's enough. I got to get out of here.
So you're welcome for the moving. I mean,
That's a very, very good topic, I guess, the discussion that will be brought up later.
Okay.
But I don't think so. I think that I was just ready to be on my own. So
well, I think I might start an investigative journalist series about things at Thoughts on the Bench now, and that'll be episode 1.
That'll be a great episode.
okay. Do we want to start with the radical ranking vote, or do we want to start with the Instagram ranking that we put up?
Let's go with the Instagram.
Yeah,
ranking.
post it up.
We'll
Cool.
post
I
it
love
up.
this one.
So we posted this earlier. Basically, I always go with lean more towards villains. I think that's just how it. The characters are great that are heroes, but like the villains are always what drags you into like if this is going to be worth watching in my mind. And I decided, I'm going to put my 5 on here. So 5 was Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls. I thought that was
Jojo.
Mojo Jojo, which I liked in the series. I liked him even more when the animated movie came out and we saw his backstory with Professor Utonium.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that how he was like basically his next project until the girls came along. He was kind of like what we would imagine like with how we feel when like we're the older sibling and then another child is born and then that child takes up all the attention essentially. That's kind of what I felt like this was.
And then beats the shit out of you every episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just how brothers and sisters are and how that works. So
That's why I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers.
Exactly.
yeah.
But Nico was.
4
Was
we'll
he?
get into.
Right? That's what we said last week. Nico probably watched it. That's why I beat you up.
Ah, true. Touche.
Sure. 4 we'll say, which was Father from Codename Kids Next Door. I thought this was properly placed. I thought that maybe people would think that the delightful children from down the lane probably could have fit in here, but they were essentially more of like the grunt. Whereas like if we're talking in video game terms, like the mini boss of the grunt, whereas Father was essentially your final boss. Like he orchestrated everything. And I love that he was basically like just a silhouette this whole entire time. And he had just control of fire and anger, which turns to kids. Like you would think like parents get so angry that smoke comes out of their ears. That's what I imagined came from this. So I very much appreciated where they were going with this. 3.
I don't know if I know 3, Austin.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I didn't know it a lot either until I researched it. I enjoyed the premise of this. This is the Beast from Over the Garden. And man, it's a weird one. to say the least. It's very, very dark. It was like a mini series on Cartoon Network. Essentially, he would just live in the forest, and he would like lure the kids like into the forest and try to make them become one with the forest. And like it was a whole, like, I think it was only like 6-7 episodes, but
That's that new wave shit.
Yeah, like his premise, and like when you hear the voice, like you wouldn't think it's like a very villainous type, but it is deep enough at some points and creepy enough to make me like, I'm not going hunting for a while. I don't need to go into the forest for anything. I'll live in the city. Like, this is one of those kinds of things, and I thought it was creepy and enjoyable enough to put it like halfway. It intrigued my interest, so to speak. But yeah, check that out. I thought it was really cool to put that on here at 3. 2, we had we had the Teen Titans villain Slade, otherwise known as Deathstroke, Slade Wilson. And
fun fact, it's supposed to be Joe Manganiello who plays that. Shout out to Liquid Death, free ad.
Hold that up again. There you go.
We need to get you these, Austin.
I mean, when it became known that Teen Titans was becoming like a popular like show throughout Cartoon Network and everything that was bringing up, like Slade was the villain at the time, because someone who did not get into comic books probably until, I want to say, like probably junior, senior year of high school, like this was always an intriguing factor because I never knew who Slade was, and they made it such a big thing to find out his identity that it intrigued me throughout. And then obviously when I found out he was Deathstroke, I said, okay, this makes so much more sense.
So one of the things that they were talking about is they used Slade because of ownership over the name of Deathstroke type stuff. So the character was built, and I thought that was really unique. So the identity thing came from a very real issue that they made awesome. So I'm with you on that one, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, the design and everything was completely different too. I mean, you had Slade, who had not very many weapons, whereas Deathstroke had like your basic swords and guns and everything that you obviously couldn't put in a Cartoon Network show. But I thought it was very cool of his attachment to Robin. Made me feel like it was kind of like an underground Batman rogue.
I always thought it was Batman. I did.
So, yeah, and like that was another thing too, that a lot of people thought it was like Bruce Wayne, Batman, like as Slade. So I thought that was really, really cool. And obviously, in my own opinion, coming in at number 1 is the immortal demon Aku from Samurai Jack.
Such a dope show.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he literally tried to destroy everything, and a samurai with a magic sword came along. So he said, "Nah, you're going into the future, where I rule everything, and my law is law." So I thought this was properly placed. I mean, the fact that he can shapeshift and morph into virtually anything that he wants is hands down, like, which we're going to get into some crazy stuff later. I want to bring up this coming back when we go into the first radical ranking.
All right,
cool.
Try and remember that.
I will. I will.
Not like the Power Rangers.
Hey, as long as you don't delete any more fonts, Bo, we're all good, all right?
Oh my God.
Roasted like a peanut.
I'm gonna delete it.
Like as I drop it. Let's start off with our first radical ranking of the night, guys.
Hell yeah, brother.
Sitting here waiting for the rain.
Jimmy's mom.
Don't get me often. That was a good one.
I get you
First
all the time.
ranking that we're gonna get into, guys. The top overlooked Cartoon Network shows. Okay. So
am I supposed to remember honorable mentions, Austin? Is what you said? Why am I?
No. I know what we're going to talk about later with this. So
okay, cool.
So there are various shows that have only existed for, I want to say, like 1 or 2 years from Cartoon Network that held a special place in my heart that I very much was like, this is dope. I like it. And then not a lot of people felt the same, which nerds get stuff canceled all the time. So what are you going to do? Except we're going to talk about them here. So starting with our first at number 5, The Secret Saturdays.
I have no fucking clue what this is.
I recognize him, but I don't think I've seen this one.
Right? Like, it's so okay. So they were essentially, which I'm just double checking, reading off here, make sure I don't screw anything up, but they worked with a network of cryptozoologists. So they protected stuff like Bigfoot and like all these different like legendary things that came up, and they were essentially spies for this. So this show was kind of hella dope. That if they would take something of the lines of protecting certain influences that were deemed myths and legends. So
That's cool.
Yeah, they protected both the human race and creatures themselves. And I mean, it was influenced by 1960s era Hanna-Barbera action
Okay.
series.
That
So.
it feels very Hanna-Barbera. I don't know if that's all the cartoons, but it looks like one of them is supposed to be El Chupacabra, and I don't know which one it is because he doesn't really look like Bigfoot, and the lizard thing isn't El Chupacabra, but I think one of them is Austin.
Yeah. Also, it says the show finished its run on January 30th, 2010. So it finished 11 years ago, but it aired reruns on Boomerang from 2011 to 2014.
Hell
So,
yeah.
something I wouldn't even expect Boomerang to be on because you figure that's like your Flintstones, your Jetsons, like kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
FIPO says it's a great pick, though.
oh, I appreciate that. We'll keep it rolling with our next pick, which is number 4, Time Squad.
I couldn't tell you a damn thing about the show, but I remember it.
The big thing that I took from this show is that Mark Hamill played the android. So he played Larry 3000, which I knew when I heard the voice again, I said, yeah, that's Mark Hamill. Like, how did I always miss that? But the show is, I mean, it was a very simple premise. They would protect time. And it make for a lot of comedy. I mean, you had a buff security guy with an overly, I would say, kind of almost acting feminine android that was OCD and cleaned everything, and then a child that was just curious. It's the perfect setup, and it brought a lot of almost like, because I'm a big history guy, so they put a lot of history perspective with this. So it's something that I personally really did enjoy. So, and Bo, does it bring any thoughts to you? Like, does it bring any memories?
Nah, I don't recognize this one at all.
Oh, really?
Nah.
I just vividly remember it. I don't know much about it, but
You spend too much time outside? Is that why you didn't remember this one?
No, I was too busy watching Nickelodeon.
That's fine. But then you were outside. No, that's good. All right. So,
what's that noise?
So we had Time Squad at 4. This one is probably the more weirder ones, and a lot of people have their reasons for not watching it. I thought it was decent, so I had to throw it on here. 3, The Misadventures of Flapjack.
Yeah, I recognize. I've never seen an episode of this.
It's
I lost with like a couple of the shows that are drawn this similar fashion, and the new Cartoon Network is not for me, and this kind of fell into that for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially the tale of just trying to be swindlers and pirates, but instead of a ship, they had a whale. They would just travel by the whale. And the only reason I remember this is because I guess TikTok has been using a sound that is from Flapjack, and the kid was always so weird. Like, oh, Captain Knuckles, yeah, we're gonna go fishing. I'm gonna love fishing. And I'm just all right. Like, it was like one of those back in your mind weird cartoons. This was one of those.
Yeah.
Like, it was very much a strange one that would have you tripping on LSD and acid for a couple of minutes. So, interesting to say the least. As our number 3. Number 2 is probably our more well-known out of all of these, but it didn't quite live up to what I expected, which I kind of made me view it as an overlooked cartoon. And that is, I think one of my girlfriend's actually favorite cartoons. That's Chowder.
That is good.
Know it. Never watched it.
Yeah, I never did. The only thing I watched it for was Schnitzel, his rock sous chef, I guess you could call him. I didn't know if he was a sous chef or friend, but he would always he didn't speak. He would just like rah 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 rah. That made me think of, if I had to picture him as anything, it's kind of like Animal from Muppets, just less crazy. Hey, rah 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 rah. Like, I mean, the whole premise, I guess, is cool. Like he's trying to be a chef, and his mentor is like teaching him all about like cooking and love. And like the one girl always thinks that he's her boyfriend, and he makes it very clear that he's not.
Wait,
her
isn't
boyfriend.
it Panini?
Panini? Yeah,
Because
that's
that's
right.
what Little Nas X named the song Panini after the show.
Oh, okay.
Did he really?
Yeah, because the whole video is about a girl that wants to be with you but isn't, or like thinks she's with you or whatever. So he named
Yeah.
it Panini after Chowder, and then FIFO writes in Man Quality TV being missed out on. Maybe I'll go check it out. I like Lil Nas X. I don't know.
Yeah, I always knew it was on. I kind of thought it was sort of what you said about Flapjack Derek. This kind of resented with me with that,
Mhm.
that it was getting way out of the bounds of what I understood about cartoons.
Yeah, but I
That
don't
was
know. If FIFO likes it, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Bo, you know it.
Nope. No idea.
All right, we'll move on to number one then, which is by far, I think, one of the dopest television concepts of a cartoon. That is Megas XLR. I love this.
I recognize the fat guy. That's it.
This was, I think, only like a 1-year show, but it was so worth it. A robot alien, or a robot that was created by an alien race, falls down into the earth, and these two living in a garage stoners basically pimp it out with a car and make it their own thing.
Mm.
And the girl comes down, and she's like, you gotta get that back. It's like, lady, this is ours. We found it. And then they somehow find themselves like the car would be the controller. That would be the funniest thing.
I'm gonna say one thing, Austin. Are you describing Transformers?
No, like this is like the car itself didn't transform. Like it was an actual robot, but the car was the head.
I see now. I see pictures. I see.
So I thought this was kind of cool because it took your average like sort of like Gundam robot scenario and dumbed it into a stoner scenario, which I was very, very cool with. Like they had the car be the head, but they had a GameCube controller or like a game system controller of some variety would be the controller of how they would move the arms and legs. And the woman, like, you dismantled all the control systems. She's like, actually, we made it better. Like, get with the times, lady. So I thought this was really, really cool because they fought off massive alien swarms and did it while basically being every guy's dream of eating, drinking, and piloting their own robot. You can't get any better than that.
Can't beat that.
I have one honorable mention. My gym partner is a monkey.
That's another one that I thought.
It's weird because I looked at a couple lists, Austin, just while you're going over for honorable mentions, and a lot of them they consider overlooked. I don't consider like Foster's Home overlooked and stuff like that. So there was some there, but I think my gym partner's a monkey is sometimes really forgotten, and it was cool. The Going Ape episode I always loved.
Yeah, I mean, it was the whole point that the kid's last name.
So he accused this other person in the gym for going ape, and the monkey hated him for it. So he thought he said something wrong, but basically going ape is the highest praise you can give a primate. So his friend who was a monkey was mad that he didn't say he was going ape. What a show.
I do know that, like I said, I think that in the song even said like he was only placed there because his last name was Lion.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I mean, that's just bad casework and file work on that show, like on those schools. Like that, you should obviously know that it's a human.
Our school systems are underfunded, Austin. What can I say?
Yeah, I get that. So, yeah, those are the top overlooked cartoons. I hope that one of them was able to jog pleasant memories in your head. Let's move on to Radical Ranking Dos. And time to do second Radical Ranking.
That guy looks like Guy Fieri in Mega XLR.
Kind of does.
We are back.
Call it Ride Fury.
Right. So, this one's going to get very, very interesting because I was able to dig up and research a little bit on the top darkest cartoon controversial things or controversies. So,
I know a lot of them, and I'm hoping that you have some that I don't know, because this is one of the coolest and funnest things to Google.
Yeah, I'm hoping they are.
That's such a good topic, man.
I want to get this one out of the way because it's not in the top 5, and we talked about it earlier. The whole issue that, which again we'll go into, that Professor Utonium and Samurai Jack are from the same universe, but also Aku and Mojo Jojo are the same person.
That's not on this list?
That's not on this list.
Okay, I was going to say, because I assumed that the Samurai Jack, Mr. Powder Puff, I assumed that they were not on here because that one's the most talked about, but I didn't hear about the Mojo Jojo one.
Yeah, they would go into the fact that I guess through magic and science they were able to cross over at one point and actually figured out that they were the same entity.
Huh.
So I need to go back and dig into that. But let's start off with number 5, which is probably the most known for what the show is trying to give us, and that is A Dog's Point of View, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I do know this one.
Yeah, explain this one a little bit, Oscar, because this is a good one.
So the whole point of Courage the Cowardly Dog is that it's supposed to be in the middle of nowhere with all this crazy supernatural shit going on. But in retrospective, they just don't have any visitors because they're in the middle of nowhere.
It's up to Courage to save his new home.
Stupid dog! You made me look bad!
It's not bad.
Not your best, not your worst.
I don't have the face. I think that.
Ah, you have the face. Oh, you mean the mask?
Yeah, I.
Hey.
Shit. Yes, I don't have
Roasted.
Yeah, this was an interesting perspective because the dog never came into much contact with humans, so anything mysterious or anything was deemed to be supernatural or something that we're supposed to not understand. But it's in fact just a dog going through grade A level shit that every people and dog go through. Let's. I don't know any main examples off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, Cat. Cat's a massive one. I mean, the
well.
reason that it's he's a cat, and it's like, all right, well, this cat is the most smart, maniacal thing that's ever been put on planet Earth. It's because cats traditionally are smarter in that realm of organized chaos than dogs. I think there. I mean, you can talk about the super scary nephew that comes through, Earl or what's his name? George or something. Fred. Thank you. I knew it was a name close to that, but Fred when he comes through.
I want to see if I can. I do. His hair was naughty.
That's terrifying. Yeah, you can never do that again. No, but I mean, if a new family member comes and the dog freaks, yeah. Well, when a new family member comes to the house, the dog freaks out. So it was like that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. I found it also interesting
that
the fact that his original parents were sent into space, which I guess you could link to Sputnik based on time frame and everything, but I don't know if that's completed.
Interesting.
But yeah, this mad doctor was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna send these 2 dogs into space," but then forgets the kid. Just separating families, I guess. Swine. Yeah, that's number 5. I think that's the most well known. We'll move into number 4, which is comes from Scooby-Doo and the fact that it takes place in an economic depression.
I did not know that.
I did know this one.
You did?
This is a really strong one.
Yeah. So if you haven't noticed, any town that the Mystery Inc. gang goes through is abandoned, and it's basically run down. It's essentially because that's what everything is, because everything is weird. That it's in time of an economic depression, and there's always one person with a gimmick trying to steal whatever treasure or everything is going to make them rich again. So that's why they do it. And this is the whole interesting part of that.
Yeah.
Because when I first thought of it, I just said, oh, you know what? Because I always wonder where all these people were. You can't tell me that some guy dressed in a suit or some girl dressed in a suit was able to scare off an entire population, right? It just doesn't happen. You would obviously have your authority figures in charge, like your mayor or whatever that need to stay because I don't think they can legally get rid of the town or abandon it without selling it, which made a whole bunch of sense because nobody was going to buy it.
All the people were stealing money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I like that one a lot actually because it's as a kid you think about it, you're like, well, obviously bad things would happen in this rundown neighborhood, but really it's just people that went through an economic depression trying to make ends meet through however they can because they're not being assisted by the government, and here comes 4 pot smoking hippies and a dog just screwing it up. I love the twist on that theory and how it makes these guys look bad.
Oh yeah. What was it always that I always just love that. Hey, Velma and Daphne will come with me. You go with Scooby, and it's just like, why do you always go with Velma and Daphne, Fred? Like, you ever go with Scooby once in a while? He's a literal dog. If I run into anything, I am dead.
See,
like,
but Fred knows. Fred knows that this is an economic depression. He's not going to find a ghost. He's going to find a dude, and they're going to whatever. It doesn't matter. He's with Daphne and Velma.
Exactly. We'll move on to our number 3, which involves 3. I thought I would funny to put that in. But number 3 is...
Shouldn't this have been 5 then?
Excuse me. Number 3 is the Brenda.
I don't know what that was.
Brenda theory.
Brenda theory for Powerpuff Girls. This...
They're all named Brenda? Is that what the theory is?
Yikes.
So the Brenda theory is interesting because it essentially tells that all 3 of these Powerpuff Girls are the same girl with different personality disorders. How Brenda eventually, that's what they called this girl because of all the different things that were going on. They called her Brenda. And we would have that she was split into 3 different personalities of Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup.
They are drastically different.
Yeah, exactly. So I would like to know more and more in depth about this because it was an actual psychological theory that was presented. So I thought this was hella dope that people were going as far as to completely psychoanalyze a cartoon show. I mean, you got time on your hands. I certainly don't. So I'm glad that they were able to come up with it. So what are you guys' thoughts on that one?
I'm Googling a little now, and it says this series says the Powerpuff Girls is a fraction of one host body. Blossom represents the girl that Brenda wants to be. Bubbles represents her soft and bubbly side. Buttercup is Brenda's aggressive side. I don't hate it in any way, shape, or form because a lot of these shows you look at as an adult, and you're like, all right, well, you know, can this be put in some kind of formality, and is it just their imagination and stuff like that? So I don't hate it.
Yeah. We'll move on to number 2, which... You can swing both ways. I'm going to tell my take, and I think one of you guys might know the other take, so we'll get that in there. But number 2 is Frankie from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And my take from this is that Frankie is the only real person in the entire show. She had such a difficult childhood and everything growing up that she created all the imaginary friends, but she also had created all of the real characters that were deemed real. Mac, Grandma, like all of the really real characters she even made up herself because of how alone she was growing up. So that's kind of my spin on it. I know that there's another one that if you guys know, I don't know if you knew or not, but I figured I'd just leave it up to the table.
There's the one where Frankie's an imaginary friend. Yeah. I've heard that one. I've not heard that she's the only, and I enjoy that one a lot too.
That would make sense.
There's some debunking there, like she has a driver's license and stuff, but if you imagine a big sister, Frankie would be the big sister, and it would make sense why she lives at the house. And it also could be Madam Foster making a friend of who she was at a younger age, but in the new age being Frankie. So there's a lot that can go into this show. She's like a crazy cat lady, but in her head, Rook says. Yeah.
Which I remember correctly. I think that Frankie was the only, aside from Mac, was the only one that actually left the house as a human. Because Madam Foster lived there, so to speak. And that was being taken care of by Harriman, the rabbit butler. So I believe she was the only actual human to leave.
Yeah, there were like Mac's parents and his brother, but they never really were in every episode. I think they were the only 3 humans, really. So
right. There's also another one where actually the imaginary friends are the real people, and they made up their human counterparts to spend. So the big fucking flip of the coin.
My only problem with that one is you think that Wilt would let his imaginary friend leave him after he loses. You know what I mean? Like, that's an interesting.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it one bit.
Number one's our darkest one, obviously, because that's a number one. I always wondered this when I watched this show,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was able to piece together my own theory. And number one is that Plank controls Johnny.
Okay.
Essentially, that Plank, despite looking like a piece of wood, is actually an evil entity that can speak through Johnny. And that is why Johnny is the only one that is able to hear him, so to speak. But a lot of the times, the menacing look, you don't think it looks menacing, but when it's zoomed in, like it's a frightful thing to see googly-eyed, like red eyes with a blue smile staring at you. There are different parts that Johnny essentially walked through living with schizophrenia after this because of how mentally torn he was from Plank whispering in his ear 24/7. This is a very, very dark one, to say the least.
Plank did play on the high school football team, so.
It's true.
What position was he?
I don't know if it doesn't say. Rook says I agree with this completely. Would you say, Us?
I think he was a kicker.
Let's
It's
see.
like, go. It's essentially like the Patrick Rock, like, go, Rocky, you go when you feel like it, like kind of thing. Yeah, but there were so many different things that when people think of this show innocently, they think it's like a kid that just didn't have a lot of friends, so he made up one. But I think when he made it up, he released something that eventually came back to haunt him and speaks through him and controls him through various adventures.
So Plank is a wide receiver after playing defensive back the season before, apparently. Is that real?
Must have had an injury or something.
Oh, hey, fun fact. No, that is a real story. A real college football team. Kennesaw Mountain. Oh no, high school. Kennesaw Mountain High School. Apparently, there's a guy that carries Plank around, and he's on their team.
Yep.
So I did not find what he is in the show. I'll keep looking.
No.
That is interesting.
No. That is crazy. Yeah. I kind of went a little too dark with that one, but I think that's a perfect one to end on for this.
Heck yeah, brother.
So let's hit off. We finished our radical ranking 1 and 2, so let's hit the great debate.
We need to debate harder. We never really debate.
We try to.
We tried to, yeah. I know.
We got to debate way harder this time.
All right, well, I think this could do it.
This could be a good
So
one.
the great debate for this one is essentially 90s Cartoon Network shows or 2000s Cartoon Network shows. So there's the 90s are kind of, I would say, stacked maybe, but I want to get your guys' opinion.
Are we doing 2000 to 2010? Would be considered the 2000s?
Let's do 2000 to 2009.
Yeah. Perfect.
I think 20, yeah. So I'll let one of you guys go first because I went first last time on my Power Ranger thing. So
I mean, I'm 90s. It's just, man, like you got, and I am looking at lists right now just for everyone to know, but Johnny Bravo started in the 90s. Powderpuff Girls started in the 90s. What's New Scooby-Doo was not. Ben 10 was not. Codename Kick the Dick Door was not. I'll give you that one. Don't care about that. Ed, Ed and Eddie was 99. We take that. Foster's Home is 04. Don't get that one. Teen Titans 03. That's fine. Dexter's Lab 96. That is one that we wanted. Samurai Jack is 01. That's fine. It's definitely, I mean, for me, it's the 90s. You got Dexter's Lab. I'm looking at the list again now. Animaniacs, Cow and Chicken, Rocko's Modern Life, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I mean, technically, we even get Dragon Ball Z. Even though that was 89, but I'm still taking it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean,
89?
Dragon Ball Z, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
It just, the 90s was just different. I like Rook wrote in 90s too, man.
Yep.
90s Cartoon Network was my shiznit, brother.
I get it. Bo, what are you going with, bud?
I'd have to agree with Derek on the 90s. Some of the shows that I watched, I remember, are like Tom and Jerry, Scooby Doo, and what else was on in the 90s?
I mean,
You
yeah.
said
Like,
Dexter's
oh wait, I found a
Lab.
giant ass picture. No, that's all the shows. Google, stop messing with me.
Looney Tunes, the Baby Tunes, or whatever it was called.
Oh,
Tiny
Toons,
Toons.
smacked,
Tiny Toons,
brothers.
Yeah.
Nope, that stopped airing in 90. These lists suck my face.
Was Rocco? That was Nickelodeon, wasn't it?
I don't know, just naming stuff on there, the
I
list.
thought so.
What do you think, Oz?
So, contradiction. I'm going with 2000s, man. As great as the 90s were with stuff like Ed and Eddie, Powerpuff Girls, Courage, you had various more animation styles and storylines that were able to be told. One big one would be Samurai Jack. I thought that show was incredible and what it was. Then you had the instance of Codename Kids Next Door, which was every kid's dream to be essentially in a giant gang that created weapons in order to fight adults. And then I think, like, I mean, you had even the Clone Wars were in 2003, Foster's Home in 2004, like even your original or your unappreciated one, Derek, My Gym Partner's Monkey, 2005. Another unappreciated one for me, Ben 10 in 2005. A kid that can turn into 10 different aliens. Sign me up for that. There's a lot that was able to be put into this. I mean, you even have like a dark one that was presented as a more comedic style in the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which had the dumbest character by far in any cartoon ever in Billy. And a lot of people say, like, you know, Billy is smarter than some of these, but this man literally opened a window to jump through the window instead of going through, like, do you understand what I'm saying?
No. He opened a window to jump out the window seems extremely logical.
No. Yeah,
Would you want him to jump through it?
No, he was sneaking into a building.
Okay.
And he opened the window, and you think to go into that space that he opened, but then he jumped through the actual window that he opened.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. And the fact that they were able to it's the 2000s had a lot of gold standard opportunity that was given. And a lot of it could be argued that they wouldn't have that if it wasn't based on the 90s. But I think that at one point you got to look and see what actually came about rather than what it was based on.
There's one show, and so Metalhead Mario writes, and I got the 2000s too.
That's because
Who's dumber?
He's only like 10 years old. He's a little kid.
Okay, notable. The only show that I would really, really want from the 2000s is Code Lyoko.
Was that correct?
It was. Code Lyoko was the show where like 5 friends would go into this warehouse and then jump into this super crazy virtual world, and I could never remember the name of that show, and I have to bring it up every time I talk about that era because it is amazing. Google it.
That was a good show. I remember it. I always watched it all the time.
Oh, dude, Code Lyoko was so dope.
Which Xana, I guess, could be one of the big villains if you really think about it, because he
yeah,
really destroy the world.
You don't remember that, Phil?
Technological
Not at all.
methods.
It's on Netflix, though.
Oh,
apparently.
shit, it's on Netflix, Austin?
Yeah, man.
It's probably going to be so bud, huh? Like, compared to how highly I think about it, like, it's probably going to be
You'll
bad.
probably watch,
They always worry
you'll
about
watch
that.
2 minutes and turn it off.
If it holds up or not.
Who's dumber, Billy or Ed?
Oh, Billy, hands down.
What?
Billy, hands down, man.
FIPO got me. Code Lyoko's awesome, bro.
I think Ed had some sort of, like...
And Billy didn't.
But, I mean, the man knew what he wanted.
What about
like,
Cosmo?
But Cosmo's Nickelodeon, though, but I get what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying stupid. You said he was the dumbest character ever in cartoons.
In cartoons, right?
Yeah.
I'd argue Billy's dumber than Ed or Cosmo. Cosmo knows at least when to shut up and know his role when talking to Wanda and everything. And Ed goes along with, like, the plans and is the muscle, whereas, like, Billy is a literal idiot.
Peter Griffin.
Billy?
I mean, Peter is an adult. He should know better. Billy's a kid.
Peter
He should know.
also comes up with plans, and he knows what he's doing. So.
I'm starting to think Vo is smarter than Austin.
Yeah, Foreigner.
I don't think so. That's a harsh statement to say, but
No, he's spot on with that one.
I might be hurt by that comment, but it's all right. So yeah, you guys are going with 90s. I'm going with 2000s, and we'll roll with that. So we will take a quick commercial break and be right back with our top 10 ranking of the day.
Hi, I'm Josh. I like pizza. Do you like pizza?
When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie.
We've let it coagulate. Show Greg. King of coagulation there.
Coagulation is key.
Homemade Greek ranch.
Do you like watching people eat pizza? Help me, because I'm on the quest to find the best pizza in Pittsburgh.
Hand-forged pizza. Bit of Vici. That's amore.
Make sure you're sending in your recommendations for the best pizza in Pittsburgh, because I'm going to go, I'm going to try it, I'm going to hold it to my standards.
It's the aftertaste is the barf. Is where the barf comes in.
yeah. I agree. It's bomb pizza.
Can your favorite pizza place pass the test? Find out.
If you had one jersey to pick from across all of sports, what do you think it would be?
Reebok era maroon Atlanta Thrashers alternative jerseys. I mean, can we talk about A+ potential? They look like soccer jerseys, but they're hockey jerseys.
I think we're gonna have to pass. So what's your favorite college football jersey out there?
Oh, it's Coastal Carolina. Chanticleers, right?
Dude, are you serious? That's my team.
The jersey
Hey, no,
sucks. Oh no, dude, that jersey's trash. I don't even like college football. It's so stupid.
What the hell is this? So as far as NFL jerseys or just football jerseys in general, I guess what's your peak jersey? What does it look like? Which one is your favorite?
Well, you gotta go with the Buffalo Bills home.
No, I'm gonna stop you there. I think we're gonna move on. We don't need any homers on the show, so I appreciate you calling in, man.
And I would say, Smalls, I have an incredible passion for Arena League football jerseys.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that was a great league. I mean, do you venture outside of that at all?
The best one, I'd say I have a lot of Penguins jerseys.
Did you say you said jerseys?
Yeah, you've never heard of a jersey?
No, I know what it is, but you would say that's your favorite?
Yeah, because they're short sleeves, so you can move around a lot better.
You mean that ironically, of course, right? You mean that ironically, right? All right, who do we have next? Benny Buckets.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Oh.
Welcome the hell back to the show. Oh, what is up, everybody? We are here for the official ranking of our Cartoon Network special. And in order to do that, this is what it is, man.
Hey, wake up over there. We're back.
So, top 10.
He's feeling that jerky.
It'd be great if I would be able to say the top 10.
Just keep going.
Go ahead.
We do the sides.
We just
We
have
do the
side
humor, and you keep
conversations.
doing a fucking show.
The top 10 Cartoon Network shows. This is going to be controversial. I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off. Deal with it.
Well, yeah, based on the first comment of the evening, you're going to die.
What?
The first comment of the day came to the show, says, if a certain show isn't number one, I'm going to kill you. From Josh Elsass.
Oh, I thought it said, first time, glad to see this about you.
So that wasn't from Josh Elsass.
That's true.
But was that the first comment? Scroll up.
I'm going. I'll go. Do the goddamn show.
Top 10 Cartoon Network shows, guys. All right? We are getting into it. Number 10, Ed, and Eddie.
Ed and Eddie is the best show, or we fight. Josh Elsass, 632.
Oh.
Talking FIPO came in after other comments and said, first time, glad to see this is about you, which is a great comment.
Well, it looks like Josh is going to fight him.
He's probably going to lose.
Who? Josh?
Josh throws punches like a penguin.
I mean, send him the location. We'll do it. We'll duke it out. I ain't no scared. I ain't scared.
I ain't no scared.
I just gotta say it with your chest. I ain't scared.
Why can't you guys let me talk and do my ranking? And then the fuck we get this fucking.
Yeah, what is
what
this?
What is this show?
We're just
what is this?
back to our side conversation.
Welcome back to UFC.
I think you broke him.
Number. So I get why people would think Ed, and Eddie would be higher.
Foreigner says it should be higher for you, Oz.
It's the same concept every time, man. They're just trying to scam so they can get money to get jawbreakers. They're thinking here. They need to think here. Save that money.
You're a fan of Survivor, right?
Yes.
Okay. I close my case.
Gavel, gavel, gavel. Case
that is
closed.
literally 50 seasons of the same exact thing. But you want to talk about this show.
Different twists come into play to make it better.
So do on here. Do they build a city every episode?
Ford just said you're the same concept.
I'm a goddamn good concept. I'm the best
Well,
concept.
so is this show. But since you do the same thing every week, and the show does the same thing every week.
Wait, you talking about this show?
Yeah, this show.
No, we do different stuff each week.
Do we? We rank stuff.
Different
That's what Ed
topics.
and Eddie is. They scam kids. Age jawbreakers.
You saying we scam kids now?
That's the last of RankKing's court this evening. Sorry, let's do it.
You're good. Number 9, we'll get into one of the classics you talked about. Number 9 is Dexter's Laboratory.
Hell yeah, brother. I just rewatched, because the image on the screen is from the New Wave artist. I just started watching the other one. I think it's on Hulu. The original.
I couldn't find like an old picture that was good enough to put on here, so I had to use this.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You get the concept.
But yeah, because you can't see D's big ass head.
I was gonna say pop quiz. What's his sister's name?
Oh, Deborah. I remember that one. Idiots.
Deborah.
So mad.
What's in that cup? You got
Miller Lite.
some syrup? Oh, okay.
Shush. Yeah, number 9, Dexter's Lab. It was great, but the fact that they had to break it up into, I would have appreciated if they stuck with one concept per episode, but they ended up splitting it, which worked out in some cases.
Now I'm super confused because you just said that Ed and Eddie was the same concept every show and it's 10.
I meant like the same, like they would have the plot stay the same for the episode rather than change it to a different plot later down the road in the same episode. Like they would skim the storyline, so they would split into 2 different parts of an episode instead of just rolling with one part. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Try and split it up.
Are you talking about how they have like the monkey and then the Super Friends and then Dexter? Or...
No, I'm speaking particular, which I appreciate, so to speak. But I'm talking strictly of Dexter.
Okay, cool.
Where they split into like 2 mini episodes for the episode.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. If they stuck with just the one part of the episode
and extended it,
this would probably be a lot better.
Saturdays are for dads.
And Dad's car. So. I'm getting bed, man. It's good. Number 8 is probably, I think our most recent one, one that I started appreciating a lot more. Number 8 is Adventure Time.
Yeah, you're a big fan of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great concept, man, honestly. And there's a world where basically anything could happen, and anything could happen. This is what it is. So, that's just a boy and his dog. And I also enjoyed the Lemonhead character so much.
Is this the Bubblegum Princess one too?
Yes.
Okay. I know something about this show.
The scene where like they rig a contraption around the Lemonhead guy, and only for him to reach is like, you smell like dog butts. It's just the dude was always yelling like, just chill out. Like he would be like, there's a scene where he's also like smacking another lemon while like doing that, and it's like legitimate like slaps like all over, just yelling. So oddly, like, I mean, this is like the one where you like sit down and you're like, drugs would be cool right now. Like this is one of those shows. Like this is awesome. So yeah, Adventure Time at 8. Probably could go more into detail about it with some other people like that know the show more than me. Would probably say a lot more. But number 7, we'll move on to one of my hidden treasures. I love this show a lot, and that was the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy at 7. The fact of the matter that these two kids, really Mandy, was able to swindle the Grim Reaper into being their friend for life is absolutely hysterical. Also, the fact that Grim was played by the same voice actor that did Aku Aku from Crash Bandicoot was a hella dope plus. But
I liked it a lot. I liked the show and the different concepts of the death and how he hangs out with them. And yeah, I really enjoyed the show a lot.
I will say one of my best impressions is ha! Flippin' burger! Ha! Ice cream! Like,
I don't know who that is.
The elephant guy.
Ed and Eddie, or no, Ed and Eddie elephant guy. Billy and Mandy elephant guy.
Yep, let's look him up.
Be Fred Burger. Hi, Fred Burger. Hi.
Is that? Oh.
Wow. I remember the one scene completely because they took him out for ice cream, and he was just like, what is that flavor? And they was like, chocolate. I like chocolate.
Oh yeah, the green. I like frozen yogurt.
I've seen him before.
Yeah, he was like,
yeah, wow.
We'll just take all the flavors, and he's like, all right, you got to pick toppings. Oh, what's that one? He's like, oh, just get all the toppings. Yep. Fred Burger.
He's licking the. Okay, I'm with you. Pog impression of Fred. Yeah. Fido likes it. Yeah, now that I realize who it is, Austin, it's one of those things where like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that hit me in the brain. Oh, it tastes like Invisible.
It was funny in the matter because there's that scene where he's tasting it, and then he would like hit his head and like brain freeze, and then it would go to Billy, and Billy would be experiencing the same thing because they're idiots. It was just so funny. We'll move on for the sake of time though, and number 6, probably I'm happy that Adult Swim rebooted it because I loved it so much more. Samurai Jack at 6.
Cannot believe this was not higher on your list.
I wanted it to be, man.
You've said multiple times tonight how much you liked it, so I just kind of assumed it was going to be up there. But why is it 6 and not top 5?
I liked certain aspects of it. There are definitely. It's not a 100% great cartoon beyond any shadow of a doubt. No cartoon really is, but there are certain things that I did appreciate this, putting like a samurai of old time into the future with technology. I mean, in one episode, he's fighting sumo rings to get out of like essentially being sold into human trafficking. And then there's another scene where like he faces, like Aku brings out all of his anger and completes like a double Samurai Jack, but only like with like a black robe and red eyes, so almost anti-hero kind of thing that fight off against him. I would say if I had to include the Adult Swim part of this, it would probably be higher, but I stuck firmly with the Cartoon Network side of it. So if the continuation of it was included, it probably would have been like in the top 3 easily. But
fair. I enjoyed that you had reason behind it. That's all I asked for.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I don't, then why do I do these things? So
I will not say Wendy's. I'm a better man than that.
It was one time.
Number 5 was a big one for me growing up, and it's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Oh, yeah. This is a top 5 show all time.
Yeah, I mean, you had
all time or just
Imagination
Cartoon
was key.
Network?
Cartoon Network all time.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
making sure.
imagination was key. If you didn't have imagination, you wouldn't understand this show. And even if it's as bad as Max, is it Max's older brother that creates Red?
I believe so.
No, because he basically just did the opposite of Blue. So instead of like all calm and collected, it's just a red brick that wanted to beat stuff
Yeah,
up.
Terrence created Red, who's his older brother. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the characters in this were amazing because you got to see a different imaginary friend in every single episode, and I'm glad they stuck with that premise because if they would have went through the same ones, I feel like the show would have gotten tiring. But they gave you new characters every single episode, and you had your obviously ones that stuck with it, like Harriman and Coco and Eduardo and Will. It's just great. Like this, I loved Wilt's attitude too. He's like, "Hey, sorry." Like almost like a Canadian basketball player kind of thing. So I very much appreciated it. So
I just enjoyed that every episode they were so drastically different because it didn't get boring. It wasn't weird. Like there were some reoccurring characters obviously you see on the screen, and then there was obviously Cheese, who was wonderful, but really cool. I loved it.
That's another one. I like chocolate milk.
Yep.
Oh man, just keep adding these, man. I'm
Yeah, 17 live viewers now have to get a new TV because of that noise.
And new ears, probably.
They always call that ear rape and everything. That's good. Number 4, we'll move on to I think one of the more adult-centered cartoons that was hella dope that I enjoyed so much. I even watched this in college. Like I love this show. That's Regular Show. What? So.
Never seen an episode.
Really?
Yeah.
It was one of those shows, Oz, that like it just wasn't popular when I was in like heavy watching TV. You know what I mean? And like you say, you watched it in college. When I was in college, I was binging The Office and How I Met Your Mother. So I was just, and then so in college was when I first started watching Game of Thrones too. So like I was starting to binge heavier shows, and I didn't really have the cartoon aspect anymore. But I know that a Regular Show is really well loved. Like Nico adores it, so I know it's good. I just never sat down and watched it.
That's just the whole aspect of its adult life in cartoon form. They have jobs that they don't really like.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of features in this show too. There was an episode where it was like a rap battle episode, and Tyler the Creator featured as a rapper. So I really, really enjoyed that. And just like the amount of like adult like not like adult content, but like adult content in this where like there's like even there's a thing where it goes, it's too late. It's like, no, undo it. No, you piss me off. And like, oh, it's just like, it deals with so much like with issues of relationships and just hating your boss and like different aspects that put adult into a quote unquote regular show.
I love it. That description right there explains why it's Regular Show. I like it more. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, looks like there's 8 seasons for it too.
Oh wow!
Oh, yeah, it was a long thing. So I've always tried to mimic the food stuff from this show because their food. They had like a sandwich called the Death Sandwich. It was like literal long hoagie bun that had like 12 meatballs, just like pepperoni and salami and all this other stuff. They also had the whatever cheeseburger was like. It's a cheeseburger that's stuffed in another cheeseburger that's buns, or 2 double cheeseburgers, and we use a special Himalayan. We use a special ketchup that we get from the Himalayas.
That's also a cheeseburger.
Who doesn't eat one is a chump. That's hilarious. I need to find out. I'll Google what that is called real quick. But I actually, since I made the thing, I'll go into number 3. And the number 3 show for me, I changed it today because I wanted to get a little bit more introspective on it.
Shocker.
Number 3 is Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I'd say this is top 3.
It's up to Courage to save his new. Wow.
What was that?
The Ultimatum. Ultimatum. That's what it was called.
I was twisting that gavel, and I twisted it, and it launched behind me, and I caught it by the butt of it. So,
Love it.
Courage
I
is a
thought
good
you said
pick.
you caught it with your butt.
Not that talented. I wish I was as talented with my butt as you are with yours, Austin. I know that you'd be able to catch it. I think that the most impressive thing about this show, though, are the secondary. Shit. Stop, Derek. The secondary characters and the bad guys that are reoccurring. Like, I love Cat. I think Cat is one of the coolest things. Fred is dope. I love the banana episode where they go into the future and it's just a giant monkey. Love this show.
We interrupt this program to bring you Courage the Cowardly Dog Show.
Yeah. I love the episode where the house becomes like a castle and he has to try to get through the moat. The mattress episode, the computer episode. I could go on for hours about this one.
Fun fact, does anyone remember their first ever episode they watched of Courage the Cowardly Dog? I certainly do.
Mine, I think, was the Hunchback guy. That was Stay in the Barn.
Oh, yeah. So I will say there was a special on a Scooby-Doo VHS movie that had Courage fight a chicken from outer space.
Oh, yeah.
That was like in the main, like,
That was before Family Guy made it cool.
finally make it a thing. That was funny, but nobody talked in that episode. Like, it was like they didn't even have voice actors yet, so they were just trying to get a pitch for it. But I think my first episode I saw was the puddle episode, and it terrified the shit out of me. And I was like, "This is a cartoon show." Like, I must have been probably 9 or 10 when I watched it for the first time.
Right.
And that gave off the mythology of mermaids and everything, and how she was gonna literally eat Eustace alive. Which I guess there's petitions to try to get an actual live action film with Josh's gonna hate me for this. He was in Gran Torino.
Clint Eastwood?
Thank you. Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Clint Eastwood as Eustace and Betty White as Muriel.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would have been.
That'd be great.
Meadowhead Morrow says, "Return the slab."
What's your offer?
Return the slab.
It's like, you know what was happening. Like, Eustace always just cares about money.
Oh, I love it.
He was just like, oh, no. And then it's just like his entire house is eaten alive by scarabs.
Yep.
So, hella dope. I love the whole show and the premise that it brought to it. Number 2, Codename Kids Next Door.
I've been rewatching this too with Dexter's Lab.
I mean,
it holds up.
There's a scene that I genuinely remember because it's been popping up on TikTok now. Well, I love when they named little acronyms after things.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And BRA stood for Battle Ready Armor, which was hella funny. Hella funny. Just, I mean, it's all about with the kids versus teenagers that are caught in the middle versus adults. It's literally what we imagined. Because I think I was 10, I think, when I started watching this show.
Are you going to start crying and be all sentimental?
He might cry. He looks like he's going to cry.
Why? I'm just saying, this is what I thought, was cool. The fact that they made a show that kids were the supreme rulers that would try to, take back what the adults were driving at them.
Well, it's really the only show that says being a kid is cool. Because almost every other show that you'll watch, it's about the older person's cool, even Rugrats, Angelica's the cool one. Every show, the grade up, even in Hey Arnold, the older kids are cool. You look at Recess, the older kids are cool. This is the only show where the younger you were, really the cooler you were. And it was interesting because even the baby divisions of Code Next Door and the division that were the same age as number 1 through 5 here, they were all the same level of cool. It was when you became a teenager, you weren't cool anymore. And I thought that that's really interesting, that juxtaposition there.
Yeah, they had a lot of interesting things in this. They had the double agent. If you remember, number 13. That was actually a teenager in disguise, going undercover.
There's so much with this, bro. There was an old website they used to have that apparently leaked a handwritten sequel movie to number one becoming the all-time operative and always. It was so cool and unique, man. This show is amazing, Oz.
The one thing that I will say that might tear me up is the finale of this show, which, Derek, if you don't remember, I won't say because I won't spoil it for you.
It was a live action, right?
No, like actual like animation.
Okay, you keep talking because I'm gonna look up what I'm thinking of.
You're good. The final episodes were realized when number one realized that his dad was the original number 0, and was like, it finally decided that he had to go and become an adult in order for all his secrets to be stowed away. But he didn't want that for his son. He was going to send number one to the moon, if I remember correctly, or some space division.
Oh, so is your phone going off on your computer?
What was that?
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Is your phone on your computer and...
It's not. I took it away. It was on the same table.
Okay, cool. We can jump on that call with you if you want.
Group call.
And I can get on if you want.
No, so Austin, in that last episode called Interviews, they bring in actors that are being interviewed to talk about what happened to number one. And it's all of them, and they're old. And then at the end, number 5 calls it in that, like, hey, we told them everything you wanted us to tell them. So that's what I meant by live action, and I'll send it over after the show. So it is not completely live action, and is not like a one-off. They're just older and sitting on a couch talking about being kids, but that is all tied into his dad being Agent 0.
Okay. Cool. And then we'll go with my number one, which do you guys have any honorable mentions before I list number one?
Let me look, because I had the list, and then I got really down a rabbit hole with Codename Kid Next Door.
I feel like, Looney Tunes was
Looney
Cartoon
Tunes.
Network,
Look at
right?
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, Tom and
You
Jerry.
look at Scooby Doo. Meh. Like, I think that those are some of the greatest shows of all time. But when you think of Cartoon Network, you think more of stuff like this. I don't. Total Drama Island. Austin, is that Cartoon Network?
I think that's Cartoon Network.
I thought that show was amazing in the first couple seasons there.
It's animated Survivor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you never heard of it?
I've heard of it. I don't think I watched it.
Yeah, so it's animated Survivor, which is really really unique. I thought. You didn't have Powderpuff Girls in here, right?
No.
I think that's one of the more famous ones. Camp Lazlo was always an interesting one. Doesn't deserve to be top 10.
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo was a very good one.
The beginning of Camp Lazlo was a twist and a half. That it was that camp counselor wasn't the real camp counselor the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was just like, why the hell would they do that? Like, what do you mean he's been locked up in a closet this whole time?
Yeah.
How was he going to live?
Yep.
But yeah, I agree with you. The Powderpuff Girls is 11 for me, which is why it was
fine
on the list. So, but when I think of like Scooby Doo, Tom and Jerry, all them, I think we're a boomerang with like Jetsons and Flintstones and that old school.
So I think that's fair, which it's all owned and operated, but I know what you mean by that. Like, it's just a different era of it. One that's interesting to me that is not technically Dragon Ball Z. Wow, it's not even what I was thinking of, but I was thinking it's like Dragon Ball Z. Is Pokemon technically aired on Cartoon Network and the CW, but it was a show that started in Tokyo, so it doesn't count, but I just want to say that as an honorable mention.
Yeah, which you could argue, I think the same thing for Dragon Ball Z,
yes,
because it was based more off to be more of an anime, and it was brought to North America to be more centralized.
Toonami was so sick.
Oh man, I love that guy in the spaceship. Actually,
I called in all the time to try to win those guitars and shit, man. The vending machines, Austin, the sun-kissed vending machine you could win. Ugh. I'm buying a vending machine one day.
For me, I don't think it's a second guess. Number one is Teen Titans.
The bad guys from Codename Kid Next Door.
This had just about everything. Like, it was a superhero show that had comedy, it had action, it had drama. It literally had all the pieces put in place to make it a great show. And they really didn't go off of their old repertoires or their old mantras. Like, Batman, I think, is mentioned once, and it's not even by name. That Robin said it was his father, and then you saw bats flying in, so that gave you the idea. But essentially just teenagers living together in a house, which oddly was shaped like a T. Like, just you could have been more original with it, but it's all right. I mean, the Justice League literally had a space station in space.
It is interesting because Austin, speaking of Justice League, tell me if I'm wrong here. I think Teen Titan is the only thing that can save DC.
So it's an interesting. I mean, I know they had a live action show, but I have never watched it.
Did they?
Yes, they still have. They still have a live action show.
Oh.
I heard. All right. I haven't really put much interest. I know there's an episode where Batman literally loses his mind and kills the Joker and then goes on a murder rampage.
Dude, the fact that I've never heard of this is bad for this show, right?
Yeah,
like that can't be a good thing.
No, it's not a really good show, to say the least. But I would enjoy a reboot show. I mean, we saw what happened when things get rebooted. I haven't watched it yet, but I heard the Snyder cut of Justice League was amazing.
Can you do this one too?
4 hours long.
Yeah, if you have 4 hours.
But yeah, it's like it's the number 2 DC movie behind The Dark Knight right now.
Wow.
So I need to check it out at some point because I've heard it's just incredible.
I liked it. I like the list though, man. I think it's an accurate one.
I think it's good. But obviously there's room for interpretation. Otherwise we wouldn't have this show. So if you thought that I made a boo-boo in my list, which I'm always built, so there are no boo-boos. So let us know. Write in your own list if you want. But I think this is kind of what it is. I'll re-go over the names real quick. Recap: 10, Ed and Nettie; 9, Dexter's Lab; 8, Adventure Time; 7, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy; 6, Samurai Jack; 5, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends; 4, Regular Show; 3, Courage the Cowardly Dog; 2, Codename Kids Next Door; and 1, Teen Titans. So
love it. Big fan, brother.
Yeah, I would say this was an OG topic. I thought it was deserved an OG respective ranking. So, and I thought that our radical rankings ventured more into the unknown and bizarre rather than kind of like the what's going to come kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was really unexpected, and I enjoyed that about those first two.
Yeah, I like the theory ranking.
So maybe get that into more of the show. Who knows?
Who knows?
Until then, everyone, thank you once again for tuning in to the RankKing's Court at 6:30 on Twitch. We are on Tuesdays. Thoughts from the movies are Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Wednesdays. Then we have the flagship show, 2 Beers Deep, 6 p.m. on Thursday. The Vault drops episodes Facebook and YouTube on Friday at noon. And then you have your Boondock Bangering for all your sports betting and gambling needs at 10 a.m. Then we swing around back for the Idiot Hour, which has been doing some good draft concepts, D. I've been paying attention. So.
Thank you, brother. This was one of our better episodes. We did some sports stuff that I'm going to try to get out on social this week. But the draft day concept's been going strong, and we're either going to have some kind of video game with you and Steph this week or have you guys in for the draft day concept. We have not decided formally yet, but I'll let you guys know.
Cool.
400 says, great show, guys.
Thank you, 400.
Alrighty.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate
Love
it,
to hear
everyone.
that input. Nothing else to say then, guys. I think this was great, and we will see you all next week. Until then, as my girlfriend's head peers around the corner in a creepy-ass way, court is adjourned.
Court is adjourned.